Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about chapter 258 of My Hero Academia. Now this chapter was really interesting to me, mostly because I had certain expectations based on spoilers that were handed to me. You know, I wasn't really going to read the spoilers initially, but then I kind of gave in because some people were saying this chapter was about to be some great stuff. And actually, while it was really great stuff, it just wasn't what I had expected initially, based on the spoilers that I read. And instead I got some really great character interactions between Twice and Hawks, which was actually really nice to see. I really enjoyed their interaction this chapter, you know, seeing how they both kinda got along, how Hawks was giving Twice advice and so on, and Twice obviously trying to back up Hawks while still being sort of semi-suspicious about him, asking him, you know, why he knows so much about the cause and everything. Kind of understandable, though Twice is certainly one of the few that actually kind of believes in him more than some others. Like obviously you have Slide and Go, you have Shigaraki and everyone who don't really seem to trust Hawks fully yet, especially Dabi as well. Dabi was the one who kind of recruited him, but he was always kind of suspicious about Hawks, especially with the whole corpse thing. He even asked if that was possibly not best genius, but it didn't really matter because at least he killed someone, right? So Dabi kind of let it slide. So Hawks is still kind of not being fully trusted, which I kind of get. I mean, obviously this was 2 months ago, so it's really hard to say how it is right now. But I think, you know, this whole interaction thing is something we should really look out for, because I think Hawks is going to obviously betray Twice, because he's not really a friend of Twice's. I mean, he definitely likes Twice, but he knows that Twice and him, they have two completely different agendas, and at some point he's gonna have to cut him loose and, you know, return to the heroes, because I mean, this is sort of just a game for Hawks, right? He's been tasked to infiltrate, and he has to do whatever it takes to gain their trust, and in this case it is actually getting to know Twice to get all the information that he needs, and he's been able to get a lot of information through his interactions with Twice, spending time with him, learning about everyone, and all of these regiments are led by Toga, Twice, Spinner, Mr. Compress, and everyone else, right? So Hawks is really doing a great job at his position, and the fact that he hasn't been found out, or at least he doesn't think he's been found out, I guess we don't really know for certain, it's quite impressive. It really is, because I feel like Shigaraki, if anyone, would actually just go straight up to him if he figured out that he was actually being a mole. I think Shigaraki definitely would kill him straight up, but at this moment in time, obviously Shigaraki is going through these changes, so he probably couldn't even if he wanted to. So it's really hard to say right now whether Shigaraki actually knows or not, because obviously Shigaraki isn't dumb. He knows what's going on and all of that kind of stuff. So if Hawks were to slip up on a major scale, Shigaraki would definitely know about it. And then there's the fact that Skeptic is obviously listening in at all times. You know, Hawks, as we know, has been bugged, so we do know that if he were to slip up, at least say something he wasn't supposed to say, Skeptic will know about it. And Twice even said this chapter that he was listening in, but he wasn't really caring about it. You know, he doesn't really give a shit that Skeptic is listening at this time, because to Twice, Hawks deserves to know a lot more than what he's been given, because he's been spending so much time with them, you know, doing hard work for them, that Twice just figured, you know, you deserve to know more. So he told him a little bit more, and this is kind of what Hawks wants, right? He wants to learn as much as he can. He wants all of the information needed so he can relay that to, in some shape or form, kind of like he did with the book to Endeavor. He wants the heroes to kind of know beforehand what's gonna happen, how things are gonna go down, when it's gonna happen. And based on the final pages of this chapter, I think he probably succeeded in doing so, because the heroes are definitely making a move in the form of what looks like an evacuation of a city, and I think this is probably something that is going to be happening throughout many cities, because as we saw this chapter, obviously the Paranormal Liberation Front wants to destroy every single city at once, at least every single major city at once, and that is obviously something that's very dangerous. A lot of people are going to die and everything is going to be in ruins. The heroes obviously want to prevent that, and Hawks is no different. He wants to prevent that. His job is to make sure that this doesn't happen. That's why he was tasked to infiltrate the villains, to neutralize them before things get completely out of control. And that is something that I really liked seeing this chapter between Hawks and Twice. That is kind of what the relationship has been leading up to, and I wouldn't be surprised at some point in the future when Twice finds out that Hawks has betrayed them, that he is going to go completely apeshit on Hawks, because as Hawks even said this chapter, that right now Twice is the one that he fears the most. The greatest threat to him is Twice, and even the greatest threat to the heroes is Twice, because he got over his fear. He's able to use his quirk freely now. He's not really afraid about cloning himself and losing himself while doing so. As we saw, he even, by the looks of things, he actually cloned Nomus and himself. So you're gonna get a lot more Nomus than you initially thought you were gonna get. And that is something that I find to be quite amazing, because that means that we're not just gonna get like the commanders versus like the big shot heroes. Obviously, we're gonna get a lot of Nomus fighting out against minor heroes, major heroes. There's gonna be a lot of fighting going on. Obviously, the commanders are going to be fighting certain people. I guess we're gonna have to find out just who is gonna fight who eventually. We don't really know yet, obviously. Now, there's one page in particular that I want to talk about briefly, which is the page with the statue of All Might, the child, and the mother, because this is a page that I know at least one of my friends were wondering about. He was like questioning, why is this page here? What's the point of having it? And I kind of want to talk about it because it does have a meaning, although it's a very sort of subtle meaning. It's not really a very clear message, if you will. It is trying to tell you that there are people in the streets, in the city, that are innocent people that have nothing to do with this conflict that's about to take place, that are going to be caught in the crossfire. And that is very important to know. You're not just having villains versus heroes necessarily, because if they get into the cities, then civilians are going to be caught in the crossfire. They're going to be casualties. The villains, at least most villains, probably won't give a shit about what happens to the civilians, Shigaraki being one of them. Shigaraki really has no interest in taking prisoners, and he is going to destroy whatever he sees if that's what it takes to win. Like, that is the mentality that Shigaraki has. He's not dumb, but he's very destructive in his way of thinking, which is something that we kind of have to remember throughout this upcoming arc, is that Shigaraki is going to have a very destructive way of thinking, whereas the heroes are obviously going to do anything they can in order to prevent the villains from even entering the cities, to make sure that the civilians are safe and sound. Now, personally, I don't think the heroes are gonna succeed in doing that, but that is something that we just gonna have to wait and see, because honestly, it's just one of those things, you kind of have to hope for one outcome, but at the end of the day, the author is obviously the one in command, and he decides what's gonna happen. So we're pretty much just spectators at this point, even if we do desperately hope on one particular outcome. Now, they're obviously evacuating people, but it takes a lot of time to evacuate people, especially from big cities. I mean, these are major cities we're talking about, and it's gonna take a lot of time to evacuate everyone, and I seriously don't think they're gonna have that amount of time to do that, especially not if the villains are moving right now. I think they're gonna be able to evacuate most people, maybe even just some people, but there's gonna be people caught. I'm pretty sure there will. Like, I don't see a scenario where the villains and the heroes fight out in an environment where there are no people getting caught in the crossfire. People that are just going on their daily life, trying to make sure that they can be safe. In this case, they're probably gonna be mid-evacuation if that were to happen, because I'm pretty fucking sure the evacuation is at least going to start. I just don't think everyone's gonna have the time to get out. But that's just my take on it. Anyway, gonna end the review here. I hope you liked it. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, what you think about this chapter, My Hero Academia, chapter 258. Do you think the heroes are gonna win? The villains are gonna win? How do you think this conflict is gonna start? Because right now it looks like the heroes, including the students, are evacuating the people, whereas some pro heroes, a lot of pro heroes in fact, are just charging. So I'm wondering, exactly how it's gonna start and exactly what the conclusion is gonna be like, because a lot of people, me included, obviously want the villains to kind of win in order to get this sort of villain society saga, if you will, instead of having like this saga right now that we're in, where the heroes are living a happy life, just trying to fend off, criminals and stuff like that. Like a rather functioning hero society. I would like to see a kind of dystopian villain society arc or saga even take place, and I know a lot of other people do as well. So I'm wondering what you guys think. Let me know down below in the comments about this chapter, or just the upcoming future of My Hero Academia, like what do you think about it. Anyway, be sure to Detroit smash that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. This has been Chaotic Plus, and remember, Toga is waifu, Toga is laifu.